Hello everybody and welcome back to the SimZone for the first round here at Kyalami for the GT3s on PC here. We're watching the qualifying session. We have got 9 minutes left and we're just on board with Odenberg in the Ferrari going around his flying lap. Currently running P5 at the moment. We've got Borchardt at the top of the standings in his BMW, and in second we've got Dyson and then Tulja in third. You'll have to forgive me for incorrect pronunciations on the names, but we've got David Mashils in fourth in the number 32 McLaren as well. Looks to be a good circuit for the McLaren so far, currently running third and fourth. So yes, I believe we're on board with Chris Pissock at the moment in the brand new BMW M4. Currently running in P6, looks like he's doing a flying lap just at the start of the lap here at Kyalami. He's setting a pretty good sector time so far. Looks to be on a very fast lap, as I think he just dips outside the curb there. But maybe that wasn't invalidated. You can always stay on the track and hope for the best with your lap, but hopefully that time hasn't been invalidated, as he seems to be pushing on still. We can see them coming down into the corner, which I believe is named Sunset, as during the endurance races they have at this circuit, it faces towards the sunset. That may be correct, it may not, but it's a pretty spectacular corner nonetheless, and hopefully we'll see a lot of overtaking into that corner come the race. As we now move on board with Hagara in the other BMW, a lot of M4s in the lobby, of course, the brand new car to ACC. It looks pretty phenomenal too, and around this circuit looks especially quick, so let's see how his lap plays out for him. Just to note then, we've got Borchardt still keeping his position at the top of the timetables at the moment. With a lot of drivers still out on track trying to find their position on the leaderboard. We've got Jean-Carl Barth here in the lovely looking Porsche with his own custom livery design on it. Looks to be doing well around here at Kyalami. Looks like a very good lap. He's coming up on potentially some traffic there as we see the BMW rejoining the track just in front of him. Can see him coming towards the end of his lap here. Hopefully it's a good one for him, as we now move back to Borchardt leading the way. It looks like they've got two very similar liveries, and potentially there might be teammates here, so hopefully a good showing for both of those drivers, both in German manufacturers. So we've also got the Honda there running in second. I know that their BOP is usually very good around intercontinental tracks. It's nice to see a Honda up there, a good lap from him so far. Also got Dyson there in the Aston Martin, a personal bias for me in the Aston Martin, as I prefer that car on track. It's a very nice looking car. We've also got the Audi there in fourth, and Mashils down in fifth with the 32 McLaren. In sixth we also have the number 25 McLaren and the Porsche, and then another McLaren. And then to finish the top 10 we've got the 87 Audi and Pissock to finally round out the top 10 so far with the 315 BMW M4. So we're currently watching Schwabe's lap in the Audi. It's nice to see an Audi towards the top of the leaderboard so far. Looks to be trying to improve his time with a flying lap going back towards the last section of the track then. Looks like he might run into some traffic here potentially. I'm not sure if those cars in front are on a flying lap or a banker lap. It looks like, yeah, the Porsche is going to get out the way there, and the McLaren in front seems to be going for his flying lap right now. Let's see how the number 83 Audi does. Up to second then, so just right behind Forsten Borchardt in the number 89 BMW. Looks to be a close contest at the top between the BMW and the Audi then. Not much separating them, I don't think, so far. So, well, Borchardt has got actually a pretty good lead, to be fair, at the top of the standings. Looks like he's currently set a 1:41.4, which is a very good lap around this circuit. And it looks like Schwabe is about 6 tenths down from that position. So, not far off, but it looks like Borchardt has currently got the most comfortable position at the moment on the qualifying leaderboard. As we look now at Ben Mullard in at number 77 McLaren, he seems to have risen at the standings at the moment, currently running in P4. In a very eye-catching white and green livery there on the McLaren, very on brand there for Ben Mullard. Looks to be running in a very good lap at the moment, actually. His pace seems very good around here, and as I said, the McLarens especially look pretty quick, so let's see how his lap is, and hopefully he can improve at the start. So we now ride on board with Krauser there in the Ferrari. Looks to be also going on a flying lap. A lot of drivers at this point in the session will be trying to get their final laps in, maybe as the clock starts to wind down. A lot of drivers will find it a bit more pressure as they try to set their best lap, as they see the time running out, and maybe this will be their potential last lap. At the moment, he looks to be currently in 31st, maybe hasn't still a lap yet, or he's just looking to improve at the fleet in this current layout and roster of drivers. So yeah, I think as long as you can get a decent lap in, you're set for the race. We're now going to move to the number 11 Aston Martin here of S. Pryor, driving the, well, we're very on-brand Cognizant Aston Martin there with the lovely sort of teal metallic colour on the car. He looks to be starting his lap at the moment. Let's see how we can improve his time. We're back on board now with Jean-Carl Barth, who looks to be also trying to improve his time, as we now move to Ian Prentice there in the number 666 Ferrari, who's currently running in 19th. He looks to be also on a flying lap. A lot of drivers, as I say, as the clock finally winds down to its 0 hour, will be finally making their last laps, and hopefully will be able to improve themselves up onto the top of the leaderboard. So we can finally see then, as the session does start to wind down, a lot of drivers making their way into the pits on their final lap, or maybe finishing their lap A lot of drivers, of course, may abandon their laps or finish them, depending on how well they did. So as this session does wind to an end, we have currently Borchardt at the top of the standings with the Audi right behind of Schwabe, and then the Honda still managed to keep in third position with Ben Mullard, the number 77 McLaren, there in fourth, and then Pisuk, Odenberg, Dyson, Raknostic, and then Hagara and David Mashils to final out the top 10 in the McLaren. And as I do believe the session has now been completed, so please stay tuned for the race and look forward to it, and thank you. So then here we are then for the race as it starts to build up attention for the exciting lap around the Kyalami circuit. We have, of course, Schwabe starting from first. I'm not sure what happened to Borchardt there. Maybe he didn't confirm to drive on time. But at the moment, we do have Schwabe leading the way. Yes, as we can see there, Borchardt is currently in the pit lane. So I'm not sure what happened there with Borchardt. But yeah, so we've got the Audi from the Honda, from the McLaren, from the BMW at the moment. So they're the top four to watch out from the start. Hopefully some optimistic but fair moves into the first corner to set themselves up for the rest of the race. We've got an hour here. It's starting at 10:04 a.m. in Kyalami, so hopefully an hour of action-packed racing. So then, as we could see now then from Schwabe's rear point of view camera, the cars will start to go into double file then as they wind around the final few corners to get the start of their race. So the Audi will lead the way then to start off with a fearsome pack of cars behind him, which I'm sure he'll feel the pressure from, but you've got to focus on the race and see what he can do in the long term here. So then they round the final corner. Drivers will be anticipating the dropped throttle as they change the lights from red to green then.
Green light, give it all you can.
And away we go then for green lights here at the Kyalami race circuit, where the Audi gets a pretty good start, gets on the inside of the Honda, and then the McLaren behind in hot pursuit. They come to the first corner. As they come up into the raised area of the circuit, drivers will be trying hard to make the first few overtakes here. It looks to be all clean around the first sequence of corners, and the Audi already seems to be potentially bridging a gap then, as now the Honda also joins in with the McLaren, I think, just overtaking behind, allowing him to have a bit more of a gap between the two and then the rest of the chasing pack. As we're focused on some battles further down then, a lot of drivers squabbling for position here as they do finish off, I think, the first section of the course. Then we have the Ferrari there being Prentice also, I think, potentially involved in an accident on the first lap. So here we are when with Schwabe leading from the Honda, from Ben Millard and then Odenberg and Chris Pisuk in the BMW. The top 10 then pretty close to start out with. A lot of drivers making optimistic moves and keeping them clean, it looks, so a very well-rounded start to the event. We are on board now with Odenberg and the pursuing two BMWs there of Chris Pisuk and Hagara. Looks that Hagara potentially went onto the runoff there, pretty tight corner with the sausage curb on the inside of that turn. You can see the Porsche and the Aston Martin pursuing behind there. A lot of drivers will be trying to make the most of a mistake that's potentially made by a driver in front of them. got two Hondas then currently as well in the top 10. It's nice to see the variety in the different cars, as we now see Dyson trying to make a move there on the Porsche. I think the number 999 Porsche looks like he's going to stay out wide, and it looks like the McLaren's even going to push him out wide there as well. So really good battling from these guys from 8th down to 10th, and it looks like they've still got drivers behind them with the two Audis and the other McLaren there. So this is some real close fighting here between these guys. Looks like he's going to try and defend his position into this corner as we round out then. It's incredibly close between all of these drivers. Looks like the McLaren is still alongside of Aston Martin. He's really dependent on making this move, but looks like he's going to finally back out when he's got the outside line into that turn. The two McLarens then chasing down the Aston Martin. The battle of the British rights here for bragging rights, as we now see the Audi. And I think one McLaren and one Aston have gone off the track. And it's a massive crash at the top of the corner there on the exit. Looks to be a lot of carnage there, as the Aston Martin, you can see, is off into the gravel, and we also have Ziggy here in the Audi trying to make his way back onto the track after the incident there at the top of the corner. He's now dropped down to where the two other BMWs are. But as we go back towards the front of the pack then, we've got the fastest lap set previously by Schwabe, and then the Honda right behind. The Honda's not letting him go though. Neither is Ben Millard. I think all the drivers behind, yes, as you can see there, the BMW and the Ferrari just coming over the hill. Still on course and tracking these drivers down then, so very close racing between these guys at the front. There's no sort of limit between them. They're all very close, bumper to bumper then, as they come around onto the next sequence in the race. Let's look further down in the Chris Pissock here, currently running in 4th position, and the Ferrari right behind of Odenberg. It looks to be very close between these guys. It's a pretty difficult situation to be in this position, where you've got a lot of drivers behind you when you're currently running in 4th. You've got drivers to think about behind, which may be catching on you and maybe looking for a move, and you're of course still trying to make a move yourself on the drivers in front. It's hard to weigh up whether you want to defend or whether you want to overtake, because as we saw the Aston a few laps back, if you try to overtake, you can potentially risk losing the position you're currently in, as an opportunistic driver behind you may try to make the move forward, making a optimistic chance of where you're going to be on track. So we now look at Hagara, and the two BMWs running in the top 10. Then it's pretty close. You know, these top 10 drivers have stayed very close to each other. You can see the Porsche is still behind there in 8th, with the BMW in 7th. We've got the Honda, and then the Ferrari, and then Chris Pissock, Ben Millard, the number 98 Honda, and then Schwabe, currently still in 1st position. What looks to be a crash there with the Honda, the number 22 Honda, the bright blue, almost turquoise car, seems to have been spun around. I'm not sure if that was contact with the BMW. A lot of drivers there avoiding action. The Aston Martin there, you could see, taking very quick action to cut back onto the inside of the track. Of course, the car there spun onto the racing line, as you can see the Honda now pulling onto the track. You could also see a glimpse of Borchardt potentially trying to get through on some traffic there further down the group. So that's a disappointment there for the number 22 Honda. Not sure what happened there, but it's surely going to ruin his race. As we now focus on the two BMWs here battling for 19th and 20th position. Looks like Borchardt is going to go for a move up on the inside into the first corner. As I noted in qualifying, these drivers hopefully should be trying to make moves into there. It looks like Borchardt has managed to do that there, so very well done to him, as H now tries to defend his position from the number 87 Audi there of Ziggo right behind. I'm pretty sure that was the Audi that was previously associated in that crash at the top of the hill, so he looks to be trying to overtake on some positions here. He's almost in a cup race here of BMWs. It's like there's 4 BMWs all in the row here with the Audi in between, so it looks pretty close between these guys, as I'm pretty sure he's tried to make the move there. I think he's actually managed to pull that off against H there. He has, so he's made a position there at the top of the hill, as I think the BMW in front of him also goes off track, so a pretty good sequence of events there for the Audi. And as we go back towards the front of the group, we've still got Schwabe leading with the Honda, and then Ben Millard, Chris Pissock, Odenberg, Hagara, and then David Mashiels in the number 32 McLaren also. Looks to be a pretty good lead then for Schwabe, as we do continue to look down the group, as the Porsche seems to be pitting there. The number 999 Porsche seems to be pitting maybe some damage on that car. That's the second Honda there, so it looks like there's another Honda back up into the top 10 then. Honda seems to be running very well around here. The number 20 car. As we can see then, this battle further down, very mid-pack here with the 11th position McLaren. The number 50 car seems to be battling once again with that Aston Martin, and it's the McLaren versus Aston Martin battle again, as we saw at the top of the hill before. Better contact. But these drivers definitely seem to be quick and are fast enough to be able to be battling with each other, and of course will be eager to make the move on each other because they're battling for a top 10 position here. So yeah, ferocious driving from these guys, but again managing to keep it clean, and it looks to be that the McLarens are just pretty quick around this circuit. They always look very comfortable around this sort of elevated style of circuit, so maybe we'll see them moving up towards the top of the grid later on in the race. As we come then down into the lower parts of the track there, you can see the sequence of McLarens and Aston Martins, and then the Ferrari and the Mercedes behind them. And then of course there in 18th we've got Porsche trying to make up some positions. But yeah, we have here the number 5, I believe, Aston Martin, and then Van Horn behind in the 14 Ferrari, who seems to be doing very well, holding off from the 89 Mercedes behind him. It's a pretty intimidating car to have behind you, the 89 Mercedes, as it's got that large grille ever since it was made into an Evo car since the 2020 season. But it seems to be holding off, and as if you go down the straight, maybe a bit of slipstream advantage towards the Mercedes there, as I believe Porsche has just set the fastest lap. Yes, he has. He's just behind this small battle here between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. But Van Horn does seem to be holding off the Mercedes pretty well here, as he's not really in striking distance at the moment with the Mercedes. Hopefully in the next few laps he can maybe close in a few tenths. As we can now see the onboard of the Mercedes then. It's a driver's eye almost of what he'll be thinking and what he'll be, the sort of opportunistic moves he'll be trying to make on this Ferrari in front of him. Let's come up the hill then towards the hairpin. They'll start to make our way back down towards the finish line, as they have a gaggle of cars in front of them, as you can see now from this driver's perspective here. Maybe they'll be able to link onto that. I think that's the line of McLarens and Aston Martin. Yes, it is. So these guys are pretty close towards the top 10 battle then, and they look to be on the pace to catch up with them. So hopefully these guys will be able to move up, and this battle will still commence. I mean, the mid-pack battle. So as I believe we've got somebody off track up front. It seems to be a yellow flag. I'm not sure what car that is. It looks to be the grey McLaren of Michiels, maybe the number 32 car potentially. But we can see now as we come around onto the start-finish straight, these drivers have got very close to each other. You've got Porsche in the battle there. You've got the Ferrari. We've got the Mercedes, of course, and the pursuing Honda behind as they catch up to this battle of the McLarens and Aston Martins. Very close into the first corner. They almost look three wide into the first corner. And the Mercedes there with an absolutely incredible move. As I said, making the move on that Ferrari at the right moment, at the right time, and that's the number 49 Mercedes. I kept on saying 89. But yeah, that's a very good move by him, and that puts him up into 14th position then. But he does have Forsten Porsche behind who looks to be pursuing. And that's a brilliant move there by Porsche as he goes around the long right-hander there, which is a real tyre shredder if you're not careful, but he seems to have got that corner done and fixed up very well, as he now seems to be catching the Aston Martin in front, the number 5 Aston Martin in 12th position then. So this is a very good move up the standings for Porsche so far. He looks to have got that move done as well there, so into the entry of that corner, maybe the Aston sort of slightly moving out the way there potentially. Porsche been making a brilliant progression of the current positions. As we see a crash behind there, I believe that was the Ferrari of Van Horn and the number 20 Honda there. So that's unfortunate for those guys. They were just getting onto the back of that little battle, but it seems they still are continuing to fight each other. So it seems to be a pretty good battle between these guys. As we can see there behind is Ziggo in that 87 Audi, who of course was involved in the crash earlier on, still making positions up, which is very good, and hopefully can overtake these guys and go further with the group. So we now watch the perspective of the front four drivers. Then we've got Pisuk on the back of Ben Mullard here, pursuing the number 77 McLaren. It looks very close, as we see on board with the brand new BMW M4. He looks to be gaining on Mullard pretty considerably, but Mullard seems to be defending the position very well. So you can see just in front of them is the Honda and the Audi, the first and second drivers. Then it's very tempting sort of sight that is when you can see the leader in front of you, but you've got a car in front of you potentially. It may, enforce some frustration in the driver in fourth position. Maybe, he can see the drivers in front, he's got some pace, but to have a car in front of you can always sort of force your hand, potentially. So, yeah, he looks to be... But then again, Mullard he's actually pulling away in that section, so maybe it's the case of where the different cars have different strengths and weaknesses, and the drivers are definitely pushing these cars all the way, as we can see them now come across the start-finish straight. And this is down to sixth position now, with Odenberg trying to fend off also from a Honda there. And we also have in seventh, we have the BMW, 15 BMW, and back to Odenberg then we've got... I think that Honda is actually down a lap, so yeah, that's not a worry for Odenberg. So yeah, going through the top 10 then, we've also got the 446 Audi there. This is a very close battle here with the Astons of Dyson, and then we've got the 25 McLaren behind them. This is an incredibly close battle. Just been pursuing on for a long time. As you can see, Borchardt is then still coming through the group. He's now on the back of this Aston, who I think has been pursuing this group for a long time, and this whole battle has been going on for a long while. I'm pretty sure that's the Aston that was off in the gravel after that first incident, so he's made a brilliant comeback then, and he's already back up into 10th, so very good race from him so far. So around the corner, it looks like Borchardt is trying to make a move on the Aston, as the Aston is also trying to make a move on the 444 Audi. It looks like all this fighting is allowing the McLaren in front of them to make a bit of distance between the drivers, as Borchardt there is actually overtaken by the... No, it's the Aston trying to make a move on the Audi then, so many position changing going on here. It's almost hard to keep track of, but the 89 BMW of Borchardt then, watching this battle commence between the Audi and the Aston Martin. It looks very close as he gets a bit of a better run through that corner than the Aston looks to be on the inside. Yep, that is done for Borchardt, so again another position up to 11th there, I believe, for Borchardt, as he comes down to the start-finish straight where the Aston also runs wide again. It looks to be those two drivers still continuing to battle, as we here have the number 25 McLaren and the battle that he is watching in front of him once again with the Aston Martin. Appears to be going down the inside of the Audi. Very close between these guys. I must say they are being very respectful to each other, and it's very close racing. So glad to see this mid-range battle going on here. So Dyson again then trying to make this move on the Audi. Potentially frustrating for Dyson after seeing Borchardt drive past the both of them, and is now up into 8th position. But they seem to be with a lot of pace here. The battles they're in, these high speed battles, are it's incredible to watch, as they they're taking no margin here on each other. It looks like the Audi has run a bit wide into the off the apex of that corner, and now the Aston Martin may have a bit of a better run. It seems to be tucking behind him, and there is an Audi in front of him. I do believe that is a back marker though, so he'll have to concede to them and pull over. But it looks like he might get a bit involved in the incident there, maybe. As the Montoplast Audi there runs out wide. Oh, and that's an unfortunate incident there. That's escalated extremely quickly there. Both the Audi and the Aston Martin off into the gravel. I believe the Aston Martin had contact with one of the McLarens there, and the other Audi had contact with potentially a back marker there. So unfortunate for these guys. It's an incredible battle that was going on there, but the wrong place, the wrong time, as I believe the Aston Martin just rejoins the track in front of Van Horn in the Ferrari there, which may be a battle which may brew in the future potentially. Yeah, so that was a back marker there of number 42. I had nowhere to go. It's a really difficult part of the circuit there. It's a very tight section, and the sausage curb on the inside, it's horrible. If you touch that, you're going to go off into the gravel. So a bit of a difficult situation there. As we now move to a Porsche versus Ferrari battle here for 32nd and 31st, with Ian Prentice versus Sabelos in the 999 car. I believe that was the car that previously pulled into the pits with damage, as he makes a better run off the corner and manages to overtake the Ferrari around the outside of the straight then. So they go into the first corner. The Porsche has to take a external route there onto the pit lane, so pulling out all the measures here to make sure that move is completed on Ian Prentice. So here again we have the number 22 Honda then having another battle with I believe that is a Ferrari, but on the timing screen it appears to say it's Michelle's. I'm not sure what's happening there, but it looks to currently be the 45. Oh no, that must be a back marker, of course. But yeah, potentially trying to get past that back marker, as we also have Kraus here in the number 222 Ferrari, just behind Cox there in the number 193 car. It looks like Cox is going to run off onto the gravel there. A pretty close battle between these guys. It's a very difficult part of the circuit there. If you just get a slight bit of understeer, it's really hard to correct it, as the sort of track angles against the weight of the car, and it really steers your hand in how the car reacts to the corner, as it looks like he's going to pull into the pits there. As the pit window opens, then a 20-minute pit window. Drivers, I believe, will have the choice to change tyres, but refueling is mandatory, I do believe, so that will be an interesting part to play in the strategy here, as we have Pryor in the 11 Aston Martin, the Cognizant liveried Aston Martin, which looks pretty spectacular, is on the back now of H in the 995 BMW. These two cars, I'd imagine, are very similar front-engined cars, so I imagine they'll be taking pretty similar lines around the whole of the racetrack. So it may be hard for Pryor to make a move on H here. As we can see then, this sort of line of BMWs here with the pursuing number 11 Aston Martin behind. Two close drivers here. We have Omar in the number 78 BMW, and we have the number 55 BMW just in front of him. I believe that's Blanchette the name is. You'll have to forgive me for the pronunciations, but a pretty close battle between these guys then. Two BMWs, equal machinery. Seem to be battling out. It's a nice lift on the number 55 BMW there, as he pulls into the pits then, so a bit of damage on that car I can see, so potentially he'll be taking a bit of a longer stop. As we see then, some drivers pitting into the pits end. So this is the interesting part of the race where strategy really plays into the driver's hand. Depending on your style of driving, if you wear the tyres more, if you choose different fuel loads, etc., you can really manipulate the sort of strategy section of this game, and you can see how drivers will progress up the leaderboard. Oh, as we can see, Borchardt there, I think, just gone off track, I believe. Maybe contact with a back marker there, but it looks like Borchardt has had an incident there. It's very unfortunate for him. He was making his way up the order. So that's a shame for Borchardt there, as I think that was just into the bottom half of the track there, as he comes now into the pits, I think, with damage as well. So unfortunate for him. He appears to be in 7th still. I believe that's with the net position because he hasn't pitted, but hopefully he doesn't drop down the order too much. We know he's got the pace, so hopefully he can regain some of those lost positions from that incident. As we now focus on Chris Pissock, then, the top 4 drivers it appears to be, with Schraube still leading the way, with the Honda and then Ben Mullard in the McLaren. These 4 drivers are relentless. Neither of the top 4 have pitted yet. They seem to be on the strategy of pit when everybody else does in the top 4, which seems to be an effective one. You know, if you can block the driver in front of you like Ben Mullard is doing very effectively here in this race so far, it would be very beneficial. You know, these drivers, of course, Ben Mullard is not dropping off the back of the Honda. He looks to be very quick giving chase there. So yeah, these top 4, it's incredible to watch these drivers in such close parameters, keeping each other closely contended. I think they and that's Chris Pissock there spinning. So that vicious corner, it sort of catches you out sometimes, especially in an hour-long race. It's very hard to do. As he tries to rejoin the track there, I believe he will pull into the pit lane with that. So that's unfortunate for him. He was right behind Mullard. Maybe frustration can get to some drivers. You know, it is very frustrating when you're behind a driver for quite a long time. It's hard to sort of keep your focus as we now focus on Mayek, I believe, in the 18 BMW, with the McLaren and the Aston Martin behind him. As we now focus back onto this battle with the Aston Martin and the Mercedes again, except this time I believe that's a different Aston Martin of the number 5. Again, battling for the top 10 rights as he now pulls into the pit lane as well, just behind the number 50 McLaren. But the battle still continues on track though with the Mercedes. No rest for the wicked then. It seems to be the Mercedes now also has the 444 Audi right behind. Looks like he might try and make a move into the first corner as the Audi takes the wider line to get a better drive off the corner, and they look to be going side by side. And that is the Mercedes with the inside line. Looks very close into the next sequence of corners. It looks like the Audi might pull to the inside there. And the Audi looks like he's got the run on the Mercedes. Very close here. Be careful, drivers, into the next right-hander, as they seem to be going side by side again. Maybe the Mercedes might ease off, just let the Audi swing right by. Yeah, it looks like he's done that. So very clean driving by these guys, and a great move by the Audi there. For number 444 Audi, as we've seen previously in battles, making his way up the grid. As I believe, I don't think the 444 Audi has pitted yet, so I think these guys are currently fighting for a net position of 8th and 7th at the moment. So considering as we come down the hill, the previously just overtaken Mercedes there seems to be taking a dip out of the dirt of that Audi, maybe to slightly put off the driver in front, and of course maybe to get a bit of better speed down the corner, maybe to upset the car less into that tricky left-hander down the hill, which has got a lot of bumps which can of course throw the car off into the corner. As we see him now still pursuing the chase of that bit of that Audi. It's very close between these guys. It's really hard to tell the margins between the speed as well, because this track is so elevated, and it's just each section is very unique to itself, so it's hard to tell where each car is quick in comparison to each other. So this seems to be the top 3 battle here then. It looks like we've got the Honda just tucked in behind Schwabe. This is a very close battle. I've got to give it. no margins between them then, as the Honda still applying pressure to the Audi. Looks like they've got some potentially previously pitted drivers behind them, with Ben Mullard just behind that group of drivers. Looks like the Aston and the BMW just pulling into the pits there. So yeah, these two very close. I mean, very impressed that these two drivers have kept it very close to each other. And you know, it's at this point a high-speed game of chess. You've got to place your car in the right position at the right time, and then hopefully the move will get done. And these two look incredibly quick, so I'll be surprised if they do fall down the group at any point. Around the top section of the track, then we now move to Thorsten Borchardt. It looks to be here with Ceballos in the 999 car. Not sure. This car is in 27th position. I believe this car was, to say, previously involved in an accident and pitted. But it looks like he's got the pace though. That's a very nice looking, just fully black Porsche there, running very well with a BMW behind, very brightly coloured number 4 BMW. As we go back once again to the front of the grid, with Schwabe still leading, holding off the pressure of that Honda, who seems to be overtaking a potentially pitted BMW there. As we can see, Ben Mullard just rounding out the corner. So these top three then, incredibly close so far. It's the top two especially have been extremely close to each other. Yeah, if we just do a quick rundown of the group with drivers in their current position, we have Schwabe at the top, of course, followed by the Honda very closely, Ben Mullard, and then Mayek, and then the 444 Audi there with Dyson in the Aston Martin. We have the second number 20 Honda. We have Hagara in the 13 BMW, Chris Pisuk in the 315 BMW, and then Jan-Carl Barth as well in the 34 Porsche. And then we also have Odenberg here, which is the battle we're currently watching on screen. As it unfolds, we've got the number 45 Ferrari closely following behind by the Porsche. I believe the Ferrari may have potentially made that move as the timing board has not updated itself. But as I say, it looks very close between all these drivers here. No real margin between them. As we can see then, it's a bit of a difficult part of the pit strategy that a lot of these cars are on. Of course, a very large group of cars, of course. So a lot of drivers will be coming across people who have pitted and are a lap down. So part of the driver's skill is of course to make their way through cars, as back markers will be conceding to the cars that are a lap ahead of them. It looks like the Ferrari is going to find the inside of that Audi then. So again, very clean racing from these guys. It looks like the leader then actually has managed to open a bit of a gap there to the Honda. So maybe the Honda made a bit of a mistake, or maybe the tyres are starting to wear a bit. But we still have 9 minutes left of this pit window then. So the pit window has been open for half of its scheduled time then, as we now have 29 minutes left of the racing, so halfway through. And it just shows how much a race can change in half an hour. So many positions mid-pack have been changed around, and the opening stages of the race are so crucial to the second half. So watching on board then, this interesting battle brewing here in 11th and 12th, with 10th and 11th, the number 32 McLaren, and as well the number 78 BMW. So these two cars then pretty much opposed in their style, you know, the mid-engine McLaren and then the front-engine BMW. But again, although these cars are very different to each other, very close in pace here. Dave Michiels, of course, was involved in an accident earlier on in the race, but it looks to be that he's keeping pressure on Omar in front. Very close battle between these guys. It's, again, as we saw with Pisuk, it's very frustrating to be behind a driver, but it's always about keeping your cool and just staying behind. It's very difficult to do that, of course, and we've got drivers behind there. I believe that's the McLaren behind with the backmarker BMW. So again, close between all these guys. I'm not sure what the pit strategies are for each individual driver, but of course it's still very close. As you can see, that's Borchardt actually making his way back through the group again, still with the fastest lap of the race, so we know he's got the pace. Of course, we saw in qualifying he was on pole position, as I believe, yeah, that is Omar there from 10th position pulling into the pit lane, so that will promote David Michels into 10th position. But now he's got the new threat of the other BMW of Force and Borchardt, then also making his way through the group then. So this is, again, as I said earlier, no rest for the wicked on this server. There's so many battles going on everywhere. You think when somebody pulls into the pit lane, it's you know, you can relax a bit, but there's not. There's always a pursuing driver, always drivers in front you want to catch. So yeah, as I say, halfway through the race, then potentially drivers dragging their tyre life out will be considering pitting soon. As we go back to the leader, then the number 83 car, the Audi of Patrick Schwabe, with the pursuing Honda, who's lost a bit of time to the Audi. Then I'm not sure again if that's the potentially fuel or just maybe toning back for the tyre wear, as it makes the inside move there on a back marker. So again, very clean racing from these guys this evening. It's great to see. There in third position as well is the BMW of Mayek, and then Ben Mullard in fourth. So I believe Ben Mullard would have pitted there potentially. But yeah, at the moment we've still got the 444 Audi behind pursuing. Looks very close between these guys as they are in the first sector of the course. Pit window is still open for 5 minutes 57 seconds as the time of still on potential to pit. We've got Dyson there in 9th position, currently pitting as he's just left now in the Aston Martin. We've also got a few more drivers just leaving the pit lane. Go back to this battle again of David Michels and Borchardt. I imagine Borchardt would have made a move somewhere to overtake Michels. Again, very close between these two drivers. It's incredible to see these two opposed cars with, you know, complete different architecture between the two of them being so close to each other. The drivers, of course, very fast, and Borchardt is still making his way up the group as we focus on the driver behind him with Zigo in the number 87 Audi. The Audi seems to be doing pretty well around here today. We've currently got one in 4th position as well, but it seems to be coming up on a BMW back marker there, but we've got the two McLarens in front. So again, we're sort of around 10th position, a lot of drivers very close to each other. Of course, we saw earlier on in the race a lot of battles between them. Very eye-catching livery there on that Audi, with the lime green in metallic there. Pretty bold choice of colouring there. So as we have 24 minutes still to go in this race, it's very close, as I say, between the drivers on track at the moment. As we're still on board with the number 87 car there of Zigo, who's catching the back marker BMW in front of him. As we can see, the two McLarens managing to overtake him. So as we watch this lap with Zigo, he comes into the first corner then, pretty close between all these drivers on track at the moment. He's still pursuing the two McLarens in front of him, the metallic red and purple cars in front. I do believe that this BMW is a back marker, so he may have to concede to the right, as you can see there. or maybe yes, he does do that there. So the battle is on then between these three drivers. The pursuing Audi seems to have the pace at the moment. We saw Zico earlier a bit further up the group, so we'd know he's got the speed to overtake. But then again, don't underestimate these two McLarens. They've been consistently running in this position very well, and there's a reason because of that. They've managed to hold their position well, and they're consistent enough to stay in that position. So this should be a very interesting battle between these three drivers. It's very interesting to see the similarities also between the McLaren and the Audi, both mid-engine cars. So it should be pretty interesting to watch. So we can see we've got the 444 Audi just pitting and coming out the pit lane there, and we've also got Michelle's in the pits from 11th position with number 32 car. As we see the number 50 McLaren just going off the track a bit there. Maybe some potential contact there. I'm sorry I missed that. I was watching the pit window drivers. I believe as G has turned over to his BMW, maybe it was a bit of contact with the BMW. But yeah, again, the Audi there making a position one up there, the number 87 car. So yeah, he's sticking with it and managing to keep that position in place. So we're now watching Rico Dyson in the very lovely looking white Aston Martin, the number 802 car. It seems to be pursuing the BMW in front of Mayock. He's definitely got the pace this race, Dyson has. The Aston Martin seems to be very quick around here so far. Looks like he potentially has a Porsche in the way, I think that might be a backmarker Porsche, so I imagine we'll overtake him and then we'll start to pursue the BMW just in front of him. You can see that BMW is chasing now, coming into the first corner, as we also have the two Aston Martins just in front, a bit further down the group then. Once again, that number 11 Cognizant styled Aston Martin. So there we have it then, the pit window has just been closed, so all drivers by now should have pitted, and the positions we can see on screen I believe are no longer in their positions, so all the drivers where they are is what they are fighting for, as I believe that is the Honda there, the second placed Honda. Just getting through a bit of traffic here. This is the number 5 Aston Martin with the McLaren of Ben Millard in front. So somewhere, if it was during the pits or if it was maybe an incident by one of the drivers, looks like Ben Millard then has been able to overtake the Honda. The number 96 Honda there, sorry, number 98 Honda. He's managed to make the move on him then. So Ben Millard then up into second position, the Honda which was pressurising the Audi towards the first half of the race. Very close now, has dropped down to third position, so not sure what happened there, but the McLaren is still once again making positions at the group. The person down in fourth, of course, is the number 13 BMW of Hagara. But these guys look very close. It looks like the Honda may even be trying to catch back up with Ben Millard. I'm not sure what happened there, but you can see this battle now. Ben seems to have a lot of pace, and the Honda he's just pursuing that. So maybe if you can hang in there and just follow him, you may be able to make a move. Yeah, it does look to be that way. It looks like the Honda is slightly just bridging the gap then between the McLaren and himself. Coming towards the back section of the track then once again. watching out for that yellow sausage curb on the inside of that corner as they now round out across the final corner and back onto the curb there. A great line for that corner for the Honda driver. As they come back down then along the straight into the first corner, it's definitely the case that the Honda is catching that McLaren. They look to be pretty close to each other at the moment, but again, not enough distance between them yet to be able to make the move from the Honda. He's just got to stick in there and hope the opportunity will arise. So we can see then across the whole group, this variety of drivers all battling it out. There's all pockets of battles around the entire track. A lot of BMWs out there, as we can see at the moment. A lot of Ferraris, and of course, so many different styles of cars, and that's what makes the battling so interesting. Especially in the top 10, you can see the variety of car. In the top 10, you've got Audis, you've got Hondas, you've got BMWs, you've got McLarens, and it's what makes this battling so interesting. As we can see, of course, now with the Aston Martin of Dyson making brilliant pace around the circuit so far. It seems to be challenging now the BMW of Borchardt. Of course, we saw it at the top of the times after qualifying, but maybe due to a setup issue or one reason or the other, was starting from the back of the grid, or from the pit lane, should I say. But he's already back up into 8th position here, so brilliant race so far from Borchardt, but I'll watch out for the Aston Martin behind him, as we now see a BMW and Audi there also battling the 444 car. The line of McLarens, and of course Zigo there as well in the Audi, the number 87 Audi. Applying the pressure once again to that purple McLaren. Very close battling between these guys. Again, this sort of around the top 10 area has always been very close. We've got this sort of line of the Honda, the McLaren and the Audi all pretty close to each other. As we've got the rear camera now from the number 25 McLaren. So as the McLaren and the Audi come to the closing stages of the lap, you can see the Audi getting a big advantage under braking there, and right now the McLaren is right behind the Honda also, so brilliant racing from these guys, all three of them in a long train, looking for a spot on the racetrack just to make that move. As they now close that lap and come back across the start finishing line, they will once again head down to the first corner here at Kyalami. Looks like the Audi's going to make a very good move there up on the inside of that metallic purple McLaren there. Brilliant move there by the 87 Audi of Zigo there, making an absolutely epic move up into the first corner. And it looks like he's now going to start applying the pressure to that number 20 Honda there. As they come around the first section there, the first sort of long right-hander of the lap here. It's getting very close into the next left-hander. They come side by side, and maybe the Honda may ease off the brake here. Yeah, it looks like he is. So the Audi once again there making an absolutely brilliant move to gain 2 positions on the first half of a lap. As we now have the McLaren now applying pressure to the Honda as well. Maybe the Honda a bit frazzled by that previous overtake, maybe a bit out of line. And it looks like now the McLaren is going to make the move down the inside of that Honda. So yeah, great racing from these guys, really close, really clean. So as we can see on track then, the Audi still leads the way at the moment from Ben Mullard in that McLaren, and then the Honda just behind us. We see once again a lot of little battles brewing around the track. We've got the BMWs there and that number 20 Audi we've seen previously in the battle with the Audi and the McLaren. Looks to be being pressurised there by a BMW, which I do believe is a lap down. And we do have a yellow flag on circuit for some reason. Not sure what that's for. I'm not sure what sector it's in either, but it seems to have been cleared up now anyway, so it's not an issue. As we have once again the number 5 Aston Martin with the Porsche behind. I'm not sure that Porsche is on the same lap as him. I don't think it is. No, it's in 26th, the number 999 Porsche, but still a battle nonetheless, even if they are on different laps to each other. It's always great to see two classic brands racing against each other. Of course, Aston Martin and Porsche, both respectively legendary names in racing, as we also have another legendary name of McLaren, the number 32 McLaren, driven by David Michels, and that's Jean-Carl Barth behind him in the number 34 Porsche then. So it looks like Porsche may be gaining on Michels. Maybe a potential fight in the future then. Once again, Porsche versus McLaren, two brilliant names in racing, going head to head. This is a little feisty battle here towards the back of the group. Then looks like we've got McCormick fighting off the McLaren of Cox there. So this is a brilliant little battle, as I think the McLaren looks to be going around the outside. Then I think a small mistake there from McCormick in that pink and white Porsche has allowed the McLaren to go around the outside, coming onto the start-finish straight. Then is the Porsche going to look for a potential move into the first corner of the Kyalami race circuit? It looks like it's going to go wide to get a bit of a better apex and a better pull out the corner. It's not going to be enough though to get past the McLaren. Looks like the McLaren's going to defend to the inside as the Porsche looks for a way around the outside. It's very close between these two. The McLaren have been defending very well from the Porsche as they come once again into that long right hander where the tyres are completely shredded as we come to the final 10 minutes of the race. And this is the time of the race where drivers will be trying their best on their tyres and their fuel to really get the most out of the car to make the final moves of the race, as the McLaren seems to run wide and the Porsche has made a full opportunity of that. I believe that is Chris Pissock overtaking them there in a lap ahead, so the Porsche are making a brilliant move at the right moment there, just ahead of that McLaren. He looks to be going for it again though. This McLaren is relentless here in the number 193 car. Looks like a bit of a better run down the hill into the left-hander here. The Porsche seems to be looking again. Incredibly close between these two. Then back into the right-hander again. The Porsche tries to look for a bit of an overtake, and the McLaren does run wide and side by side, I think, into this right-hander, and they're going to loop around onto the start-finish straight as the McLaren dips a wheel into the dirt there. So side by side they are then down the start-finish straight, very close, almost touching fenders with each other there. Incredibly close between these two. The McLaren will have the inside line into the corner as the Porsche does cut across to defend that position from him. The Porsche unfortunately outbrakes itself there. Of course, the rear-engine car may be pushing the car forward a bit too much there. And oh, it looks like he's lost control coming into the first sequence of corners there. That's unfortunate. Then a close battle between those two, but unfortunately just losing control, and that gives the white McLaren there just for the advantage to pull ahead. So as we look once again at the top three, it's Schwabe still leading the way in that Audi, followed by Ben Mullard and then the number 96 Honda. Those top three have been very consistent in this race so far. It's great to see three drivers staying at the top and of course having some brilliant little battles between them throughout the whole race. But yeah, it's been a completely dominant display here by Patrick Schwabe in the number 83 Audi. Seems to be very quick around this circuit. Of course, started from pole. Got a really good start, managed to defend his position, and then just held on to it. Did everything right this race so far, so him so far. Of course, the Audi around this circuit is pretty nice to watch as well. As we see Mullard here in the number 77 McLaren chasing that Audi. It looks like Ben Mullard has managed to bridge a bit of a gap again towards that Honda, so maybe the Honda is having a bit of difficulty saving its tyres. And Ben Mullard and that McLaren has managed to just pull the gap ahead. As you can see now, the Honda just maybe a few seconds behind that McLaren. So as we count down then on the, with 6 minutes left of the race, it's currently 11 AM in game here at Kyalami. We've got a little battle here brewing once again between the Aston Martin and the McLaren with David Michiels. And is that I believe that's the wrong Porsche there. I'm not sure if that is Jean-Carl Barth. It may be the number 34 car. No, I believe that is the 999 car in 26th position. So it's just the McLaren and the Porsche then pretty close to each other, but they are still battling nonetheless. And I think David Michiels has got that move done on the Aston Martin there. So again, brilliant racing from these guys. It's been really clean and really close so far. So yeah, it's great to see. It's not exactly the easiest circuit to stay clean on. Kyalami, as of course, as I said earlier, it's got a lot of tricky corners, sausage curb on towards the final portion of the circuit. It's very hard to stay clean. So again, great job to these guys for doing that. As we can see, David Michiels here making a bit of a gap now to that Aston Martin just behind him. That is the Porsche there, just chasing pack as we now watch Chris Pissock here in 5th position. Pretty quiet race so far from Chris Pissock, but P5 is a brilliant position to finish in so far, as he now has the number 45 Ferrari here, Max Lodenberg, chasing him down. It looks a bit of the top portion of the circuit here. So looks to be pretty close between these guys. It's Viana's for 5th and 6th so far. As you can see behind that's Thorsten Borchardt chasing them, so a brilliant recovery from Borchardt, making his way through the group. As we can now see Tom McCormick, I'm not sure why he was slow down that straight, or maybe he lost control of the car on the exit of that final corner, or maybe just letting cars through who were a lap ahead of him, but looks to be taking a pretty wide line around there, so that Porsche looking pretty comfortable as he almost loses it on the exit of the corner as well. There's a lot of cars on circuit. It's a bit difficult when you are a lap down and cars are trying to get past. It's very hard to find a gap, especially when you're in the same class. We can now see the leader, Schwabe, overtaking a few back markers there. Very quick so far, Schwabe being. So this part of the circuit then is currently really crowded with cars. I don't think they're all on the same lap. They all seem to be on different laps at the moment, but at the moment it's pretty congested down here. It's a very high speed recreation of a motorway almost here. So drivers being very careful and very safe not to come into collision with each other. We can see him, Prentice, now making his way around that corner. That is Cox there making a move around the outside in the number 193 car, sorry, on the inside of the first corner on that Porsche. Such a busy part of the circuit as well, with cars behind as well trying to make a move. Of course, they are the cars a lap ahead, so as you can see, both drivers there went off the throttle just around that corner as they dramatically moved back onto the outside of the circuit to let drivers through. It's such a difficult situation, but because you want to make a move on the driver in front, but you also want to be conscious of the drivers behind you as well. But you can see there the McLaren still trying to make a move there on the Porsche. As he got it done into turn 1, but I think letting the drivers behind him may have interrupted that. But the Porsche is defending very well, to be fair. He's staying ahead. As we're approaching then the final minutes of the race, we still have the Audi leading the way, I do believe, as we can still watch this battle of the Porsche just edging the gap against that McLaren.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
Okay, so the leader is on the final lap of the race then. So as soon as he completes his lap, the race will be over. As we now see once again that McLaren making the move on the Porsche there, but doesn't seem to cut it. Maybe compromising his line on the exit of that corner didn't give him the run that he would have wanted. As we can see, he makes the move now down onto the inside of that corner. Looks to be making the move on the Porsche there. Very close between these two. A replica of the move previously made by that driver the previous lap ago. As we now watch the leader then on the final lap of the race. An absolute dominant performance then from Patrick Schwabe in the number 83 car. Brilliant looking livery as well on that Audi. Just looks so comfortable this whole race. As I said, off the line, managing to defend his position into the first corner, and then bridging enough gap to make his position secure. And then obviously, of course, a brilliant sequence of pit stops, and that's given him enough distance to secure the lead. So then, as we round the final corner then, a big congratulations to Patrick Schwabe in the number 83 Audi for this race win. As we can now watch him flash his lights as he comes across the line there. Congratulations to the number 83 car there. As we also watch some drivers behind there just finishing their races as well. And there in second position is Ben Mullard, just to round off that race so far, with of course the Honda just behind. Brilliant racing from all these guys, really clean, really fair racing. So yeah, it's we've also got David Michels there, of course, crossing the line with the battered McLaren there. Maybe there's a bit of an incident. I'm not sure what happened between those two. Looks to be some post-race aggression there between those two drivers, so not sure what happened there off camera, but as we can see now, the final driver is just crossing the line. Brilliant racing from these guys, and we can see Borchardt here in 7th as well. Did brilliant to make his way through the grid originally from the pit lane, and of course had a bit of an accident with another car on track, and then made his way all the way back up again to 7th. So brilliant race from Borchardt there, displaying the pace he had around this circuit in that BMW. as we just watch the final few drivers then cross the line. Good position from him. The number 15 BMW in 8th there. So that is going to round off, I think, our evening here, as we can finally see the few last drivers making their way across the grid. The final Aston Martin there of Curtin, the number 8 car. And that is going to conclude our evening here at Kyalami. So if you did enjoy the stream, please be sure to like the video and subscribe. And I hope to see you here next time.